So now we've got all the clones working. We've got all of these different clone elements are dynamic. They're drawing on, and the little shards are flying off with gravity and hitting the floor. So that's all working. So the next thing is to create some shaders for the clones. And we're going to use a variance shader for this. And what a variance shader does is it creates a gradient of colors, and it applies any part of that gradient to any one of these clones. So let's make that by first of all creating a standard material. So let's go create materials, and I just want a new standard material. So if I double click that to edit it, I've got my material editor open here. Now I want these colors to be really bold and really bright and intense. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to map them into the luminance channel of my material. I'm going to turn off color and reflectance for a start and just use luminance. So luminance gives the impression that the object is being lit from the inside by whatever colors or patterns or textures that we put in here. So now we've got luminance turned on. Under the texture section, I'm going to hit the down arrow, and under effects, I want a variation shader. So if we click on the variation shader now, what we can see here is we've got a lot of settings. One of the most important ones obviously is the gradient. So this is going to create, as I said, it's going to pick a point, a color from anywhere on this gradient and apply that to any one of the clones. Now this is a slightly more advanced version of the multi-shader that we may have used previously, where you can create a number of different colors. This gives you a little bit more options. So first things first, let's apply this material to our cloner. So this swatch, I'm just going to click and drag onto the cloner. And if we just do a test render here, if I hit Shift R on my keyboard, I'm just doing a small preview render here. And what we can see is that the colors are quite washed out. I can see there's variations of color in there, but they're quite washed out. So we've got a few settings to change to fix that up. So what we want to do is, first of all, look for the gradient blend value and turn that up to 100%. That's whether or not the gradient is being blended with the original color of the material. We want that up to 100%, which means it's going to be 100% gradient. The other thing that we want to do is change the gradient mode to replace any other colors that we've got in our material. So that's set to replace. And the other thing we want to change is this random color, which is currently set at 100%. We don't want any random colors. We just want to use the ones from the gradient. So let's turn that back down to 0. And we should see the swatch at the top of the variation shader start to look a little bit more like it's taking colors from the gradient. So if we do a Shift R test render here, and just give that a few seconds to render, and now we've got nice, bold, strong colors from that gradient, and that's looking really good. Now if you want to, you can create your own points in the gradient, add your own custom colors. There's a little down arrow next to the gradient. If you click that, we've got some presets in there, so you can click through a number of preset gradients. I'm going to pick this full colors gradient, which is really super bright. And that's given us a whole range of gradients of colors. And if I hit Shift R here, we should see that we have a really nice, strong, bold series of colors, each applied to the clone. So that's all looking really good.